And then today, week 3, we're focusing on influence, what it is to live a legacy that lasts. So to help us kind of begin that idea, I'm going to ask Tammy and Barney Hardin to come up here, and they're going to share with you. These two have been a part of Grace for a long time, and they really embody what it means to live with influence that lasts and what it means to be a legacy builder. So would you welcome them?
Good morning. So as Chris shared, we've been a part of Grace for a long time, early in 2002, and we were actually part of that group of 10 families that we've been talking about over the last couple weeks that stood here and prayed when it was just a piece of dirt, just expecting and not knowing what God was going to do, but knowing that he was going to do something. And these last couple of weeks, as we've talked about all of these things, it's been really sweet for us personally to just be reminded of all that God's done since 2002, right? So some of you guys have asked us, was that hard to make that commitment all those years ago? And from one perspective, it was a daunting task, right? To literally build a church from the ground up, right? Not knowing who was going to come and what God was going to do. And practically speaking, y'all, we didn't even have construction plans, like for real. We didn't even have plans. So it was. But from another perspective, it was a very easy task because we had already, years before that, experienced what Chris is going to talk about today. And that's the ripple effect of what happens when people embrace the gospel and become all in, and how that changes lives. We had already been a part of that. We'd already experienced that. And so in 2002, we wanted to be a part of that. So for us, our story begins back in 1995 with two people, Arnold and Judy Machado. They didn't know who we were, and we didn't know who they were. They had no idea that we were broken, individually broken. Our marriage was broken. Our family was broken. They had no idea that I'd made the decision that I was going to ask Barney for a divorce. I was going to walk away from my kids. I was battling a prescription drug addiction that was leading only one place, and that was my death. They had no idea. But they knew Jesus, and they had experienced for themselves that transforming power of the gospel. And so in just a simple act of obedience, they shared their story with others. Well, it so happens two of the others they shared their story with were Barney's mom and dad. And then Barney's mom and dad began to experience the power of the transforming change of the gospel. And so they began talking to us. They began bringing our kids to church, inviting us to come, driving us crazy, right? But they were faithful. No big campaigns, nothing fancy. They just understood what was happening in their life, and they shared it with us. So finally, at our lowest point, we agreed to come to church. Me mainly just to have his mom stop bugging me about it. That's true, y'all. That's true. And I'm a mother-in-law now, so I know I can say that. But we went, and we went to a building, but it wasn't about the building at all. Because that morning, that pastor, who also understood the power of gospel, boldly proclaimed it. And we heard for the first time in a real way the unending love of God for us and the sacrifice that Christ died for that love. And that ripple effect of Arnold and Judy Machado, who we still didn't know, by the way, very well, began. And God did what only God can do. He began to heal our brokenness. He began to work and heal our marriage. He brought us into community of other people who loved the Lord and understood what was happening. He called us to serve. So in 2002, it was an easy ask because we were living that. So fast forward 20-something years. We're still here. Arnold and Judy's impact continues. Our kids are a part of Grace. Our grandkids are a part of Grace. One of them just got baptized a few months ago in this very room. The simple obedience of two people who embraced the gospel fully and were willing to be all in and share their story has had an impact of 4 generations. And it continues. It continues today. But here's the beautiful thing. This isn't just our story, right?
Not just our story. There's many people in this room right here today. I saw faces after first service because I called names. People like Charlie and Betty Wyatt, Bill and Sharon Hassenbeck, Mike and Retta Stewart, Mike and Diane Pionzik, Jesse Ramos, who, these are all people who have served. And I want to point out Jesse Ramos. In first service, he was over here teaching in the kids' ministry, young boys, which he has done for probably 18 plus years, people. Who does that? And why? Why do these people, why are they still here? Why do they still serve? Because they understand that it matters. It is beyond us. It's not about us. It's not about them. And it's about Him. And their love of the Lord and the service to Him, right? So, you know, we talk about programs here at the church, buildings, expansions, all this stuff. And it's all, I gotta block the light so I can see faces. These are just tools to give us the opportunity to present the gospel of Jesus Christ to our community and our region. That's why we're here. And so what Chris is going to talk about today is this next step. How can we better, more effectively reach our region for Christ and have a ripple effect of our own? Thank you.